Hey Claude, what is Cowork actually doing that a chat window isn't? Every tool in this category asks you to describe what you want. This one asks you to hand something over. That is a different relationship, and it costs you something different when it goes wrong. Act 1, what actually changes? Start with the shape of the old problem. You want a weekly readout. The numbers live in one system, the commentary in another, and the deck in a third. Nothing is hard, everything is manual. So the interesting question is not whether a model can write the summary. It has been able to do that for years. The question is who does the fetching, the stitching, and the filing. 3 products, 3 different answers to that question. One converses with you, one completes a task for you, one builds systems with you. They are not tiers of the same thing. Which changes what a good instruction looks like. Describing the steps is now the expensive way to ask. Describing the outcome is the cheap one, and it survives the process changing underneath it. And it inverts the loop. The old shape ends with you doing the work. The new one ends with you judging it. That sounds like a small move. It relocates where your attention gets spent. Act 2, 5 claims taken one at a time. First claim, it opens the browser itself and takes over your screen only when there is no other way in. That last part is the load-bearing half. Screen control is the fallback, not the method. Second claim, and this one is checkable the moment you use it. You can watch it work. Files opened, tools called, choices made, visible as it goes rather than summarized after, which means a wrong turn is catchable at step 3 instead of at the end. Third, the session is not tied to the machine you started it on. Desk, browser, phone, same run, picked up wherever you are. The work stops being a thing that lives in one window. Fourth, and this is the one that changes your calendar. It keeps going when you don't. Close the laptop, set a cadence. The work happens in the gap where you were not there. Fifth, and this is the one stated with the least evidence. One request becomes several that run at the same time and converge before you see any of it. The page asserts it. Worth watching for yourself whether the parts actually arrive together. Notice what all 5 have in common. Every one of them is about the gap between deciding and having. None of them is about the model being smarter. Act 3, what it actually does on a Monday. The shapes it is sold for are narrow and honest. Recurring reports, spreadsheets built from scattered inputs, bulk review, and notes turned into something with structure. Here is a real one in full. Read it once and notice that there is nothing clever in it. It names sources, a comparison, a threshold, a slide order, and where to put the file. That paragraph is not one instruction, it is 5, and one of them is a decision the machine has to make without you. The threshold is where you delegated judgment, not just labor. And the last clause is the one worth stealing. Asking it to report what it could not reach turns a silent failure into a line you can read. Most bad automation is bad because it succeeds quietly. Reaching 2 systems in one pass is the structural difference, and it has nothing to do with being smarter. A chat window does not lack the words for this, it lacks the hands. Act 4, how you make it yours. Skills are the answer to explaining your standards for the 9th time. A way of working, written down once, loaded when the task matches. The value is not the knowledge, it is not relitigating it. Connectors are the hands. Without them the work is described but never reached. This is the difference between a tool that talks about your systems and one that opens them. Subagents are specialists that own a task end to end, so the main thread is not holding every detail at once. It is delegation inside the delegation. And a plugin is just those 3, bundled and named, which is a modest description of something with real consequences. It is how a general tool becomes a specific colleague. The published ones cluster where the work is repetitive and the standards are strict: contract review, reconciliation, brand voice. Not a coincidence. That is where writing the rules down pays. Act 5, what it can reach and what it cannot. The boundary is the folders and tools you pick. Nothing outside them is visible to it. This is the whole safety story, and it is worth understanding rather than trusting. Deletion is carved out as the one action that always stops for you, which tells you something about where the designers thought the irreversible risk lived. Beyond that, you choose how much rope. It can show a plan and wait, or run and report, redirect mid-flight, or stop it. The dial is yours, and it should move with how much you trust the task. For an organization, the same idea gets a second layer. Access by team, spend limits, tool permissions by department. The interesting one is spend, because that is the admission that this consumes something real. And every action leaves a record your security team can read in the tooling they already run. That is the difference between a tool being permitted and a tool being auditable. It can also run inside your own cloud rather than someone else's. For regulated work that is not a feature, it is the entry ticket. Act 6, what it costs you. Start with the honest arithmetic. The page says plainly that this consumes your limits faster than a conversation does, and that follows from what it is. Work that runs while you're gone is doing more than answering. The plans are sized to how much you hand off. Which reframes the buying question. It is not which tier makes you powerful. It is how many hours a week you actually intend to stop doing something yourself. And when you do hand it over, your job does not disappear. It narrows to the part that was always the expensive part, deciding whether the work is right. So the last question is the one the page will never ask you. What should you not delegate? Anything where the judgment is the product, where being wrong is expensive and quiet, or where you are the accountable name. Let's recap with Claude, 6 acts, and they all turn on the same hinge. The shift is not that the model got better at answering, it is that it got hands and a boundary and permission to work while you are not watching. Everything else on that page is a consequence of those 3. Your turn, pick the most boring recurring thing on your week and write the ask for it, sources, comparison, threshold, where to file it, and what to tell you if it gets stuck. Here it is, ready to run. Cowork.